What if the plant you've been warned about for a century is not the real danger at all? Alcohol kills 1 in every 20 people worldwide. Yet it's celebrated. Meanwhile, cannabis, a plant incapable of fatal overdose, has been condemned as a social villain. But now, as the old propaganda collapses, we are rushing into a new myth that it is a flawless miracle with no risks. The truth is neither. Cannabis is not a monster, nor a magic cure. It is a mirror, and what it shows you depends on whether you're willing to face what lies inside. Now, with nations such as Germany moving toward legalization, we face a new dilemma. The old propaganda of reefer madness is collapsing, but in its place, another myth is rising. One that paints cannabis as a flawless miracle with no risks at all. Here is where things become both intriguing and deeply personal. The reality is that cannabis is not a villain, nor is it a perfect savior. It is a potent key, but the essential question is, what door does it open? Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist, observed that most people do not survive a genuine spiritual awakening, not because they are weak, but because they try to ascend toward the light without first descending into the darker regions of themselves. They turn away from their own fear, anger, and unresolved wounds. This inner darkness is what Jung described as the shadow, and this is where cannabis intersects with depth psychology. The plant has a remarkable ability to dissolve the protective walls we construct around our hidden self. It can bring those concealed fragments of the psyche into awareness when used casually, as if it were only about enjoyment or blissful escape. The experience can turn unsettling. Anxiety may rise, or old emotional memories may resurface. Many dismiss this as simply a bad high. But what if that discomfort is not the problem, but the medicine? What if the plant is not hurting you, but pointing toward the parts of you that are asking to be healed? This guide is about that very possibility. We will explore how cannabis can be approached with intention, used not merely for recreation, but as a tool for self-exploration. We will discuss how to sit with the shadows it reveals and transform them into reservoirs of strength, creativity, and clarity. Along the way, we will also examine the actual science, the risks it poses for developing brains, the ways it can impact mental health, and the practices that allow insights to be integrated into everyday life without confusion or dependence. This is not about promoting use. It is about understanding the experience more deeply for those who choose it. If you are ready to look honestly at both the plant and your own inner world, you may find this journey eye-opening. Stay with the story until the end, and if you find it valuable, remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the hidden dimensions of the mind. Picture a garden, cherished for centuries as a place of connection, healing, and ritual. Then, suddenly, walls are built around it. The world is told this garden is poisonous, that it breeds madness, and threatens society itself. This, in many ways, has been the story of cannabis. For most of the last century, it was vilified with myths born of fear, rather than grounded in truth. And now, as those walls begin to fall, we are left with a deeper question. What do we do with the garden once the gates are open again? When a wall that has stood for generations finally falls, the response is rarely measured. In our enthusiasm, we often rush into the garden without caution, captivated by the bright blossoms, while overlooking the fragile, intricate ecosystem beneath. This is precisely where we are today. As nations such as Germany move toward decriminalization and legalization, we are indeed correcting a historic injustice. Yet in the eagerness to embrace the plant, another lopsided story has emerged. We have swung from demonizing cannabis as a dangerous threat to glorifying it as a harmless miracle, a cure-all with no consequence. But this overcorrection is itself a kind of spiritual illusion. It sets us up for disappointment because it ignores the central teaching this plant offers, that authentic healing requires seeing reality as it is, not as we want it to be. Here is where Carl Jung's perspective becomes indispensable. He warned that genuine awakening is not a graceful ascent into light, but a deliberate descent into our hidden darkness. It means confronting the parts of ourselves we have concealed, the fears, the shames, the unresolved anger. It means encountering our shadow. The difficulty with today's all-good cannabis narrative is that it conditions people to expect only peace and serenity. So when anxiety rises, or when an old sorrow surfaces, the individual believes something has gone wrong, that the plant has failed, or worse, that they themselves are broken. The deeper truth is this: nothing is wrong. The plant is functioning exactly as it should. It is serving as a subtle mirror, revealing what lies beneath the surface of consciousness. Cannabis quiets the chatter of the daily mind, making it easier to hear the faint, often overlooked voices of the inner self. And sometimes those voices speak of pain wounds, long neglected, emotions waiting to be seen. This is not a bad trip. It is a meaningful encounter, which is why cannabis must be approached with reverence, as the powerful agent it truly is. Yes, compared with alcohol, it is gentler on the body, but its influence on the psyche can be deep and unpredictable. To engage with it wisely, we must release both the old fear and the new hype. We must approach the garden not as careless visitors, but as attentive gardeners. That begins with recognizing that potency matters. Today's cannabis, with its elevated THC concentrations, is like a fertilizer of extraordinary strength. In small amounts, it can encourage growth. In excess, it overwhelms and destabilizes the system. The aim is not to chase the highest possible intoxication, but to discover the precise dosage that allows for reflection and gentle exploration. This is the first step in walking a conscious path, with the plant setting an intention and asking the essential question: am I using cannabis to flee from myself or to encounter myself more fully? Your answer determines everything. It decides whether the experience becomes another form of avoidance or one of the most transformative awakenings you may ever undergo. The garden is now open. The responsibility is yours. To imagine this, think of your psyche as a home filled with light and warmth. You spend most of your time in familiar spaces, the living room of daily thoughts, the kitchen of predictable routines, but rarely do you descend into the basement, the hidden rooms where memories, fears, and unresolved fragments of self are stored. Cannabis, when used with mindfulness, can be the lantern that illuminates those forgotten chambers. The question is, will you have the courage to look? This is the room within us that most people rarely enter, the inner storage, where we place the things we prefer not to see every day. It holds the dusty boxes of past heartbreaks, the faint echoes of disappointments, and the raw pieces of ourselves we were taught to conceal. Anger, envy, deep-seated insecurities. The poet Rumi once said, "This being human is a guest house, every morning a new arrival." His words spoke to the importance of welcoming every emotion, even the darker ones. Yet most of us bolt the door against those particular guests, pretending they are not there. Now imagine cannabis as a key that quietly unlocks that hidden basement door. It doesn't create what's inside. It simply switches on the light and invites you to look. This, in Jung's language, is the shadow. And it is here that the real work begins. So what does it mean when someone approaches the plant seeking peace, yet instead feels anxiety, emptiness, or loneliness rising to the surface? The outdated narrative would insist this is nothing more than a bad trip. The overly romanticized story would suggest you should just shift your mindset and focus on positivity. But the conscious perspective understands something far deeper. This is the actual medicine at work. What is happening is simple yet profound. The plant quiets the relentless chatter of the surface mind, the ego that works overtime to keep everything polished and presentable. In the silence that follows, the voices from the basement finally have space to be heard. That ache of loneliness, it is not new. It has always been present, pointing toward your hunger for genuine connection. That sense of emotional numbness, it is a reminder that you may have been moving through life mechanically, disconnected from your own vitality. This is not cannabis harming you. It is simply showing you where healing is required. Of course, there is a caution here. Research suggests that about 2 out of every 10 users may develop what is known as cannabis use disorder. In these cases, the plant becomes a tool for suppression rather than insight, a way to push feelings down rather than invite them forward. This creates a cycle of dependence, where one feels the need to use the plant just to feel balanced. The spiritual invitation, however, is to shift this relationship. Instead of smoking away the loneliness, what if you allowed yourself to sit with it? What if you approached it with curiosity and asked, "Hello, loneliness, why are you here? What truth are you trying to reveal?" This is the turning point, moving from being overwhelmed by the shadow to integrating it. This is where stored pain begins its transformation into personal strength. Anger, once denied, can become the foundation for clear boundaries. Sadness, when embraced, can grow into profound compassion. The plant offers a unique opportunity to meet these hidden parts of yourself in a softened state, where they can be acknowledged without immediate fear or rejection. The goal is not to have a flawless, blissful experience every time. The goal is to have an authentic one. It is about learning that wholeness does not mean eliminating the basement, but becoming the kind of host who is willing to walk down the stairs, turn on the light, and welcome every part of themselves back home. After you have begun to welcome the shadows, you may encounter another, even more subtle challenge. This one does not feel dark or uncomfortable. In fact, it can feel wonderful. It happens in those moments of profound connection, when a wave of universal love washes over you or a brilliant insight flashes into your mind. In these sacred instances, a little voice inside might whisper, "I did this. I have reached a higher state. I am special." This, dear listener, is the sound of the ego not dissolving, but putting on a spiritual disguise. Carl Jung called this spiritual inflation, and it is a crossroads on the path where many get lost. Think of it this way. If your true deep self is a vast broadcasting station of wisdom and love, then your everyday ego is the radio that receives the signal. The experience of a profound high is like your radio tuning into a beautiful, clear frequency. The mistake is when the radio starts to believe it is the source of the music itself. This is a natural response from the ego, whose main job is to feel in control and secure. When faced with the immense power of a spiritual experience, it panics to stay relevant. It does the only thing it knows how. It claims the experience as its own achievement. You might start to feel spiritually superior to others, more awakened than your friends or partner. You might feel a sense of certainty that your way is the only right way. This is where the gentle use of cannabis can become twisted. Instead of being a tool for exploration, it becomes fuel for a spiritual ego, which is more rigid and harder to see than the ordinary one. This is why you see some spiritual teachers who speak only of light and love suddenly fall from grace in scandals of power or shadow. Their ego, inflated by genuine experiences, never learned its true place. The solution is not to destroy the ego, but to invite it into a new, humbler role. It is not the master of the house. It is the faithful servant. It is not the composer of the symphony. It is the listener in the audience. After a session that leaves you feeling expanded, practice a simple check-in. Ask yourself, am I feeling connected or am I feeling better than others? Am I feeling grateful for this insight or am I feeling chosen and special? This is how you relativize the ego. You acknowledge its presence without letting it take the driver's seat. The goal of this work is to become a clear channel, a radio that is well-tuned and free of static, allowing the beautiful signal of your deeper self to flow through you and into your actions in the world. When the ego learns to serve this greater purpose, your awakening becomes grounded, sustainable, and truly humble. You move from being a person who has spiritual experiences to a person whose entire life is a spiritual expression. Now that we understand the landscape of the self we are exploring, both its shadows and its light, we come to the most practical part of the journey. How do we create the conditions for healing instead of confusion? The difference between a session that feels chaotic and one that feels deeply insightful often comes down to a simple but profound idea: the container. Think of your mind and spirit as a beautiful, sensitive garden. You would not pour a powerful fertilizer directly onto delicate seedlings without preparing the soil first. In the same way, approaching cannabis without preparation can overwhelm your inner landscape. This is where the wisdom of set and setting, borrowed from conscious psychedelic use, becomes our essential guide. Set is your mindset, the intention you carry in your heart. Setting is the physical and emotional environment you create around you. Together they form a sacred container, a safe space where deep work can happen. Let us begin with setting. This is an act of deep self-respect. Before you even think about the plant itself, turn your attention to your space. Can you create a corner of quiet? Perhaps you light a candle to signify the beginning of a sacred time. You might have a soft blanket, a journal and pen for any insights, and a glass of water. This is not about superstition. It is about sending a clear signal to your entire nervous system that what is about to happen is safe and intentional. It moves the experience from a random act to a conscious ritual. This becomes especially important when working with the modern reality of cannabis. Its increasing potency. Products with high THC concentrations are like very strong medicine. They demand respect. By creating a calm and holding environment, you ensure that if the medicine feels strong, you are in a soft place to receive it, not a chaotic one that amplifies anxiety. Now we turn to set, which is your intention. This is the most powerful step. Instead of just seeking to get high, you ask a simple open-ended question of your inner world. You are giving the experience a direction. For example, your intention could be as gentle as, I ask to understand the source of my restlessness, or I open myself to feelings of creative flow. This intention acts like a compass for your journey. When your mind begins to wander under the influence of the plant, you have a gentle guide to return to. It helps you navigate the waves of thought and emotion. This practice of setting a clear intention is what transforms the experience from a passive state into an active exploration. It is the difference between being a passenger on a bus going anywhere and being a navigator on a ship heading toward a chosen horizon. By weaving together a supportive setting and a clear intention, you build the sacred container that can hold whatever arises, shadow, light, or simple peace, with grace and courage. With your sacred container built, a safe space and a clear intention, we now arrive at the heart of the journey, the art of inner listening. This is where we move from preparation to practice, from setting the stage to beginning the conversation. Often we approach altered states with expectations, hoping for dramatic visions or instant answers. But the true magic of working consciously with cannabis is far more subtle and profound. It works not by adding new information, but by softening the constant noise of your thinking mind. It turns down the volume on the voice that plans, worries, and analyzes, allowing you to hear the quieter, wiser voices beneath. It is like the difference between standing on a busy city street and sitting in a quiet forest. In the forest, you begin to hear the subtle sounds of nature you never noticed before. In the quiet space the plant helps create, you begin to hear the subtle language of your own soul. This is where your intention becomes your compass. Let us say your intention was to understand a feeling of creative blockage. As the effects gently unfold, you do not force an answer. Instead, you become a curious explorer in your own inner world. You might pose the question softly in your mind. Where does this blockage live in my body? Then you wait and feel. You might notice a tightness in your chest or a weight on your shoulders. You bring your warm, non-judging awareness to that sensation. You breathe into it. You ask it, "What are you?" The answer may not come as words. It might come as a memory, an image of a closed door, or simply a feeling of sadness. This is the language of the subconscious. It speaks in symbols and sensations. Your role is to listen, to witness, and to receive. This process is the opposite of how we often use substances to check out and numb ourselves. This is about checking in. It is about using the plant's ability to quiet the ego's chatter, to have a real heartfelt dialogue with the parts of you that usually do not get a voice. This is how you untangle the knots of past experiences and present fears. You are not just thinking about the problem, you are gently feeling your way into its very core. This kind of deep somatic listening can reveal the roots of issues that talk therapy alone might only trim at the surface. It is a compassionate investigation, a way of saying to yourself, "I am here with you and I am ready to listen." By approaching the experience with this open, receptive quality, you transform the plant from a simple chemical into a true ally, a facilitator of deep and lasting inner communication. The goal is not escape, but profound connection. The kind of connection that can truly begin to heal. The journey does not end when the gentle waves of the experience begin to fade. In many ways, this is where the most important work truly begins. This is the process of integration, the art of weaving the threads of insight you have gathered back into the fabric of your daily life. Imagine you have just returned from a profound dream. If you simply roll out of bed and rush into your day, the dream's message will quickly fade, becoming a distant feeling you cannot quite grasp. But if you take a few quiet moments to write it down, to feel its emotions and ponder its images, the dream becomes a part of you. It offers its wisdom. Your conscious journey with cannabis is very much like this powerful dream. The insights you receive, whether a new understanding of a past hurt, a creative idea, or simply a feeling of deep peace, are delicate treasures. If not cared for, they can be easily lost in the noise of everyday life. This is where the simple, powerful practice of journaling becomes your greatest tool. Keep your journal and pen close by. As you feel yourself returning to your ordinary state, begin to write. Do not worry about grammar or making it sound beautiful. Just let the pen flow. Describe the sensations in your body. Write down any images that appeared in your mind's eye. If you met a part of yourself, perhaps your anxious inner child or a symbol of your strength, write a dialogue with it. Ask it questions. Let it answer. This practice, which Carl Jung called active imagination, is how you make the unconscious conscious. It is how you take the energy of the shadow and transform it into a source of personal power. By giving a voice to these hidden parts, you are no longer afraid of them. You befriend them. This process of integration is also the key to understanding what happens if you use this tool too often. When people use cannabis daily, it can sometimes lead to a feeling of numbness or a sense that things are less fun without it. This can be a sign that the insights from the journey are piling up unprocessed. The plant showed you something, but life was too busy to sit with it and understand its message. The mild withdrawal symptoms some feel, like irritability or restlessness, can be seen as these unintegrated parts knocking at the door, asking for your loving attention. By making integration a sacred ritual, you complete the cycle. You honor the journey by allowing it to change you. You take the gold from the depths and mint it into the currency of your everyday actions, becoming more patient, more creative, and more authentically yourself with each passing day. One of the most beautiful yet challenging parts of this journey is what happens next after a session of deep connection. After you have listened to your soul and woven those insights into your understanding, you must step back into your everyday world. You return to your job, your family, your social circles, and here you may feel a new kind of loneliness, a subtle tension. It can feel as if you are carrying a quiet, gentle light inside you, but the world around you seems to be operating in a different kind of energy, one that is faster, more superficial, or asleep to the depths you have just visited. This is the challenge of the return, and it is a sign that your inner work is real and is changing you. This feeling of separation is not a sign that you are better than others. It is a natural result of your changing vibration. Your consciousness has expanded, and now you are more sensitive. Being in loud, chaotic, or emotionally draining environments might feel physically uncomfortable. Conversations that once seemed normal might now feel empty or full of unspoken tensions. This is where the wisdom of selective participation becomes essential for your well-being. This does not mean abandoning your life or your loved ones. It means becoming a conscious guardian of your own energy. It is the practice of knowing when to engage and when to gently step back to recharge your spirit. It is the understanding that it is okay to decline a social event that you know will drain you in order to spend a quiet evening restoring your peace. The goal is to learn to hold the tension between your new authentic self and the world as it is. This is a practice of compassionate embodiment. You do not need to loudly announce your changes or try to convince others to see things your way. In fact, that often comes from the ego. The real work is to live your insights with quiet consistency. If your journey taught you patience, practice it in the slow-moving grocery line. If it showed you interconnectedness, offer a genuine smile to a stranger. This is how you translate your inner light into outer action. At the same time, it is crucial to find your tribe, even if it is just one or two people with whom you can be your true, unfiltered self. These connections become your sanctuary, a place where you do not have to explain or dilute your energy. By balancing engaged participation with conscious withdrawal, you build a sustainable spiritual life. You become a bridge between worlds, not by shouting from a mountain, but by walking through the world with a quiet, steady light that naturally invites others to remember their own. We now arrive at a chapter that comes from a place of deep care and responsibility. It is a message specifically for younger listeners or for the young people in your life you wish to protect. The conversation about consciousness and cannabis is a beautiful one, but it is a conversation for adults. There is a profound biological and spiritual reason for this, and it all centers on a simple truth. You cannot deconstruct a building that is still under construction. Imagine the adolescent brain as the most beautiful, complex cathedral ever designed. From the ages of about 12 until the mid-20s, this cathedral is in a constant active state of creation. Teams of workers are laying down the intricate pathways for memory, reasoning, and emotional control. The very architecture of your soul is being solidified. This is a sacred and delicate time. Introducing high-THC cannabis during this period is like bringing in a powerful, unpredictable force into this construction site. It does not just rearrange the furniture, it can scramble the architectural plans themselves. The scientific evidence on this is clear and sobering. Studies show that using potent cannabis regularly during the teenage years significantly increases the risk of developing a cannabis use disorder, a real addiction where the plant controls your life instead of you controlling your relationship with it. It can impact your focus and performance in school, making it harder to build the foundational knowledge for your future. Most seriously, for those with a genetic predisposition, it can act as a trigger for mental health challenges like psychosis or schizophrenia. This is not a scare tactic. It is a biological reality. The young brain is incredibly plastic, meaning it is designed to learn and adapt. But this also makes it more vulnerable to influences that can alter its long-term trajectory. From a spiritual perspective, the task of your teenage years is not to transcend the ego, but to build a strong, healthy, and resilient one. You are in the process of discovering who you are, what you love, and how you fit into the world. This is a heroic journey in itself. Trying to use plant medicine to dissolve the ego before you have a solid sense of self is like trying to demolish the foundation of a house while the walls are still being raised. It can lead to a collapse of identity, a feeling of being lost and ungrounded. The spiritual path requires a strong container, a well-built cathedral to hold the powerful energies of awakening. Your time for that deep exploration will come. The universe is in no rush. Right now, your sacred task is to build a life so strong and so beautiful that when you are older, your conscious journey will have a magnificent home within you. This is an act of profound self-love. It is the courage to build your cathedral with care, knowing that one day it will be ready to house an even greater spirit. As we come to the close of our journey together, we arrive at a final essential understanding. The path of conscious awakening is not a race with a finish line. It is not a destination you arrive at and then remain forever in a state of perfect peace. Rather, it is a lifelong dance, a continuous, flowing movement of growth, discovery, and integration. There will be times of profound expansion and light, and there will be times of necessary contraction and inward focus. There will be seasons for exploring the depths with the help of a plant teacher, and there will be important seasons for walking the path with only the strength of your own 2 feet. This is the natural rhythm of a soul evolving over a lifetime. The goal is not to be permanently high, but to be permanently awake, present and authentic in every moment, regardless of the external circumstances. In this beautiful ongoing dance, cannabis can be a faithful and insightful companion. But it is crucial to remember that it is a companion, not the destination itself. Its role is that of a mirror, a key, or a gentle guide that can help you see the next step on your path when the way feels unclear. Some days this companion will show you breathtaking vistas of connection and creativity within yourself. Other days it will point calmly toward a wound that still needs your loving attention. A true practitioner learns to welcome both experiences with equal gratitude, understanding that healing requires acknowledging what is real, not just what is pleasant. This is how we move toward the wholeness that Carl Jung described, a state of being where we consciously embrace both our light and our dark, our strength and our vulnerability. This relationship, like any meaningful partnership, requires respect, honesty, and boundaries. This is the essence of a nuanced approach. There will be times when the most spiritual choice you can make is to take a break, to engage in a period of rest. Just as farmers let a field rest to regain its fertility, giving your mind and body time to integrate without any external substances is an act of profound wisdom. It offers you the chance to ground the insights you've gathered and to ensure that your journey with the plant remains one of partnership rather than dependency. You do not need it to feel complete, inspired, or at ease. By moving consciously between use and periods of integration, you safeguard yourself from the dullness, detachment, or stagnation that often arises from long-term, unexamined consumption. You are, in truth, the gardener of your own inner terrain. Cannabis is not the garden itself, but a single tool within your collection, helpful in certain seasons, set aside in others. The ultimate destination is freedom, the freedom to live as your fullest, most resilient, and most authentic self. A freedom that allows you to meet life with an open heart, able to move gracefully through all its phases, from bright summers to shadowed winters. This is what I call the art of the conscious high, a lifelong discipline of becoming. And so, we come to the conclusion of this shared exploration. We began by questioning the old narratives of fear and demonization, as well as the new narratives of uncritical praise, and what we discovered was a middle way, a more honest, balanced path that honors the plant without exaggerating its power. We recognize that cannabis is neither a monster nor a miracle cure. It is, instead, a mirror that reflects not only the light within us, but also the neglected corners we have kept hidden. The unresolved grief, the anger, the longing, the unacknowledged shadow. The wisdom of Carl Jung reminds us that genuine spiritual development is not achieved by fleeing from this darkness, but by turning toward it with courage and compassion. True awakening asks us to be honest with ourselves. It invites us to create safe and intentional spaces for our journeys, to set mindful intentions, and to listen with humility to whatever arises from within. What emerges is not a single revelation, but an ongoing practice, a rhythm of discovery, integration, and renewal. This path is about cultivating a deeper relationship with yourself, one in which you are both student and teacher, seeker and guide. The plant may serve as a wise ally, but it cannot walk the road for you. The responsibility and the gift remain yours alone. The goal is not to reinvent yourself into something entirely new, but to inhabit more fully the person you already are, whole, compassionate, and authentic. It is about embracing every part of your being, the laughter and the sorrow, the power and the tenderness, the clarity and the confusion. It is about weaving them together into the tapestry of a life that feels both real and beautiful. This is what I call the gentle awakening. It is the quiet power of moving forward with mindfulness, with deliberate intention and with a heart willing to remain open. So, cannabis is not about escape. It is about reflection. It is the mirror that reveals both your light and your shadow. Jung reminded us, real awakening is not running from darkness, but turning toward it with courage and compassion. If this message resonates with you, stay with this channel, like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. And I'd love to hear from you. What has the mirror shown you about yourself? Drop your answer in the comments. I'll be reading everyone.